This episode of Trials and Trebuchets is brought to you by Fanroll Dice. If you're in the market for some new, top-notch dice, and who am I kidding, folks? We're all always on the prowl for some shiny rocks, then look no further than fanrolldice.com. Whether it's their bewitching liquid cores, a pack of trusty misfit medals, or even a set of oh-so-endearing miniature dice, you'll find anything you're looking for and more at fanrolldice.com. And don't forget to use our code TRIALS10 at checkout for 10% off your order of new little crit machines. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 240 of Trials and Trebuchets. I'm your Dungeon Master, Luke, after this long time, and joining me are my players, whose names are...
Hello, my name is Ben, playing the level 12 gnome wizard Windsor Wallaby, along with his cunning little companion, Mr. Wiggles.
Hello, it's me, Carla, and I play the level 12 tiefling roguelock Integrity Eye Idleberry, who loves vampires.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I play Mira Marchand, the level 12 half-elf bard. For my intro today, I'm just going to say some factual statements about Mira Marchand, level 12 half-elf bard. In total, Mira has 1 level 2 spell slot and 3 level 1 spell slots, and 1 use of bardic inspiration, and that's all this girl has today.
God damn.
Oh my god. Hi.
Listen to that, DM.
Damn.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Sam, and I play the level 12 human sorceress Serenip Cinderman. I'm doing slightly better than Mira, so I'm gonna take that as a win.
And last time on Trials and Trebuchets, Crow Mercantile Assassins, Starling and Lark were given the dance around by the students, only cursing their target Young and the poor bystander Winsler before dying in a volley of cursed blood daggers. During their fight, the golem Ari was broken out of their trance and now accompanies the students in a plan to feeble-mind the headmaster using his own technology, but only after a moment's reprise. Because
Love the old-timey radio announcer.
Because my players would hang me by the neck until dead if I forced them to continue at this state. So, you have all just finished this a horrific affair in the Warbler. I presume you immediately shutter the windows, close everything down, take any of the remaining copies of Mira that printed in the intervening moments, take the unconscious yet stabilized Hobgoblin Artificer Young, and in your band of 8 merry folk, 8? 7 merry folk, make your way out of the enchantment tower and to somewhere a little, presumably safer and quieter. Tell me, everyone, what would you like to do as we leave the Warbler office in a state of blood-soakedness and disrepair with 2 dead folks just laying in there?
I want to speak to Kurt and make sure Kurt is okay.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah.
We can speak to Kurt, but I would first like to know where we're going.
What time is it?
Yes.
It is 5 p.m. or so.
And we're meeting with Karina at...
The invitation is for 6 p.m. today.
Okay.
Oh
the
shit, we have an
43rd
hour.
day
Yeah.
of summer.
We need to heal and hide. Where's
Yeah.
the best place for that?
Well, either we go hidden as fuck, or, on the other hand, we go somewhere public enough that anyone attacking us would be making a huge scene. You know, dining hall, library, something like that.
Is there really any place in this entire school that we can actually hide in?
Yeah, that
Under
be...
campus, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, we don't know how far, like, Crow has already been underneath the divination tower, like, we don't know where else he's gotten himself into.
Maybe hiding in plain sight is just how we should go about this then.
Yeah.
So, the public approach in that case.
Yeah.
Sounds reasonable. I'm a bit hungry.
Yeah.
We could show up blood-soaked to the dining hall. People know we're heroes. I don't even give a fuck.
I look terrible though. I look.
So no one will mess with us.
I'm not feeling very good either.
from head to toe, soaked in blood, your own and others.
Oh.
Winsler, a clot in your stomach. Like that feeling when you haven't eaten in the morning and you eat a banana and you almost throw up and retch and your stomach cramps to death because it doesn't count as real food.
Great.
Like that feeling. You've all felt that, right?
Sure,
The
yeah.
banana was the thing that
We can
caused
just
it.
say that we were sparring. Winsler.
Yes.
Yeah, and it
that's
went
some tense
horribly,
sparring
horribly
we did.
wrong.
Intense sparring. So the gang, the 7 of you, hurry down the enchantment tower stairs, out of the front door, through the clearing, and on your way to the nearby dining hall. It is the 4 of you, the artificer Young, who 1 or 2 of you could just hold as he is unconscious, limp, drag his little feet around. Like put him up between your 2 shoulders and drag him so that his feet just
We
barely
can dip our
drag against the
knees.
ground. Additionally, Ari the Golem, dressed in a dark black cloak with their eggy crystalline head, is there, and Winslow Wallaby, the very sleep-deprived Kurt Orlane, brown, very greasy, messy hair, these incredibly deep purple bags under his eyes, and just like a weary expression upon his face. He's almost like staggering behind the whole group of you, still wearing his like jumpsuit from down below in the laboratory, and it just seems to be like spacing out a little bit, Winsler, maybe due to everything that's gone on, or maybe due to the sleep deprivation, or maybe you might assume both. As you all make your way to the dining hall, covered in blood at this hour, at such a prime time in dining hall, what do you want to have a conversation with Kurt about, Winsler? How do you start this? Just walk up next to him and start chatting away?
Yeah, I'm gonna walk up next to Kurt. Hey, how you doing?
He like looks forward, foggy-eyed, and almost takes like a couple of seconds to process what you've said. He turns and looks at you. Again, he is also like covered in blood of your enemies and of yourselves. He looks at you, squinty-eyed, and he goes, I've had better days. I've had worse days, but this is a lot to deal with in a single. Like those people just killed. Those people just died. The beacon, everything is so over the top. It's all happening so fast.
I know. Are you gonna be okay?
I just need an hour or 30 minutes or something of sleep, and then I think I'd be able to power through.
Kurt, I just wanted to say I warned you about what was going on earlier. You signing that contract, I knew nothing good could come from it,
Yeah.
but I really didn't expect there to be any fine print that basically calls for any employee's execution when they break contract. I never expected that would be what Crow would come down to. But
I heard your warning, like loud and clear. I understood it, and I thought I did at the very least, but it was something that I felt like I had no choice. Like it was this or nothing of this is my one ticket. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Like if someone like Crow comes to you and says, "Do this for me," if you say no, that's it. Like I'm not getting anything as an artificer beyond that, right? There's no opportunity bigger than that.
Listen, I don't doubt you tried to do what you thought was right, and you know what? I don't blame you for doing so. Right? Look at us. We're here now. We're okay for now, mostly. I don't really care what happened back there. What matters to me is that you're okay now, right? Yeah. And any like problems that may have happened before, anything that you may have taken part of and all that, there's a chance now. We can fix it.
We can set it straight.
We can set it straight.
I know the 4 of you were talking about using the beacon on Crow and going after him and something like that, and I want to help, but I don't think I'd be that much help with that, honestly. Like,
Kurt, you can leave Crow to us, but I know what you can do to help. You can help set things right as they should have been from the start, after everything is all done here. Once Crow's out of the picture, we've got all those newspapers and everything, those booklets of information out there. You could be like the guy to go to. You were part of some of that, you had a part to play in all of that.
Yes. Yeah, I can help. But, and he stops Winslow and like turns to you and puts a hand on your shoulder and he goes, I need to help like now too. It can't just be the four of you going off and taking care of all this. There has to be something else that I can do. And he seems to be like at a loss, struggling, looking around and just kind of trying to think about something, anything. And he goes, the golems, we have to get them. The beacon was only supposed to work for the campus. If we can get them off campus and outside of Crow's eye, that's just better for them anyways, and it'll keep the beacon from doing anything else to them.
That might be an okay plan.
The four of you can't do that and confront Crow at the same time. I could help.
All right, if you think you can, see what you can do for all the golems and make sure that they'll be safe. Make sure that they'll be okay. We'll handle things with Crow and make sure that'll be fixed.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I forgive you. I only care that you are okay, you know?
Yeah.
You were getting yourself into something scary and I didn't want anything to happen to you.
Thank you, Winsler. I need to sleep sometime soon. I feel like I'm dreaming already. Standing up.
You're gonna need plenty of rest. Don't worry. Once we get to where we need to go, and we'll take a breather, and you can get as much rest as you need for the next big step.
And he, still with his hand on your shoulder, you linger for a moment more. The rest of your friends having probably walked 20 or 30 feet ahead of you at this point, and he'll say, where do you think Yogg is in all of this?
I don't know.
I haven't seen them since the day before yesterday.
Now that you've brought it up, I can't shake the feeling that there's something that might be wrong. Feels like I've got a bit of a pit in my stomach. Things are heavy. I can only hope that they're all right.
Yeah.
If you can find them please, and make sure that they're okay with everyone else.
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
And you linger for a moment more in the empty silence before Kurt takes his hand back and the two of you rush to catch up with the rest of the group. As the 4 plus the 3 tag-alongs of you make your way to the dining hall, you can like throw open the doors, the large wooden doors at the front, and begin waltzing in looking for a place to eat. Again, it's like just after 5 p.m. It is loaded in here. A very loud clamor of conversation, laughter, a lot of stress in people's voices goes out around the room. Looking around, you can only see what I would describe as organic folk. There is no golems in this room. You see, though, beyond that, like the independent researchers and professors sitting on their own corners and stuff such like that, but predominantly a bunch of students. And as you enter in, walking forwards, going towards the table that you would always sit at, or at least the one that's empty at the moment, there is like a small hush, almost like a bubble around you as you proceed through, of people looking over their shoulders and noticing the appearance, the raggediness, the very overt viscera upon your robes, and there's almost like a stifled nature of the conversation around you, a zone of silence that moves around, and almost like people pushing their friends and like pointing to you guys and being like, what is that about? With a little bit of a large amount of fear in their voices, but no one steps in your way and obstructs
Hell
you.
yeah, damn right.
Everyone's too in shock.
These guys should
and
really
you
be
can
used to this by now. We show up
easily
in, like-
take your position, sit down at a table. There's a plethora of beautiful dinner foods and desserts galore. Your imagination and even more sits upon that table. In the intervening hour, is there any important conversations that you guys have, or things that you might do before heading to Karina Lindman's dormitory?
How are we, like, feeling about the plan?
Well, it's a plan, I suppose. But I guess that's just how most of our plans are, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. It's always weird, like you know, when we get into a fight or whatever, you know, whatever happens, but it's always weird to go into a situation knowing, like Winsler, you weren't there for it, but when we were in the plane of Lem, it was a similar situation of kind of knowing how something was going to go down before it did, and it's always just weird, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's sort of an inevitable thing. I feel like I am as ready as one could be
Yeah.
in the given situation.
Yeah.
We know that he's escalating, and as we usually do, we meddle and we try to help.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's necessary.
Definitely.
Well, we've made it this far together, sort of. at least in one piece. Maybe this was unavoidable, but we're still here. We can still do something about it. And you know what? I think, like most of our plans before, maybe all it takes is just a little bit of a leap of faith.
Yeah.
You make it sound like we're gonna die.
I
When has that happened?
Serenef knocks on the wooden table.
Yeah,
mean, did you see what happened to me? I actually died one of those times. Did you forget?
We brought you back.
It was a very traumatic experience for me.
You got better.
I got better, but that doesn't change the fact that it was a horrible experience.
Well,
I bet it was.
I got drowned by a brain.
well, you're not going to get drowned by Crow.
I hope not. That would be terrible.
You can all.
We're gonna drown him.
Oh, that's the
all
plan.
Reflect on this. Think over. Maybe pass it around in your mind. The morality of taking away someone's mind and crippling their brain or something of the sort. Not to put it dramatically, but it's a big deal. It's something you should think through and really be certain of.
I mean, it happened
Yeah.
to me, and it wasn't like I did almost try and kill a guy. Semantics.
The time for ethics is long past.
Yeah, literally.
So, you can eat. Maybe not so much. There is a whole birthday party, quote unquote, this evening or in a few moments even. But you can eat and drink and stew over this horrible confrontation to come until just shy of 6 p.m. The air is warm when you leave dining hall with your company in tow. Ari the Golem has remained stoic and silent throughout all of this. You can bring along the unconscious young who just sat at a table slumped forwards like a student asleep after a hard day of school, but is truly unconscious and likely has a horrible blood curse going on within their system. You can bring them along, and of course the very tired, exhausted Kurt bringing up the rear, but the four of you in your disgusting, blood-soaked, adventuring garb can make your way to a familiar hallway, your old home, Serenep Cinderman, the second floor of this wonderful dormitory, prime real estate, some might call it, and make your way to a door whereupon there is only one name plaque and another one which is very notably missing. There's like, you know when there's like, there's been something that's out in the sun and you remove it and there's like that little, paleness where the stone was aged and you can very much see the notable absence of something which used to be there. Nonetheless, you stand outside Karina Lindemann's door. Before even entering, you can smell from within like a very heavy scent of like smoke and almost like this very overbearing. I want to use the word perfumey, but there's connotations when you use the word perfumey. Incensed smell almost.
Yeah, Karina's pretty fucking incensed.
You stand at this door. The time ticks over 6 p.m.
I am going to knock at the door very slowly.
You very slowly knock, and then you reach through the third one, and the door of its own accord swings open, Winslow Wallaby. This very cold air kind of like blows out into the hallway, and it is almost as if the little area around the doorway grows like 2 or 3 points of light darker, some sort of weird magical presence, or maybe just your imagination playing tricks on you. but there's this cold air. No one stands on the other side of the door. It just swings open for you. And inside, it is a very dark entry hallway. You would know this similar to Serenop's hall, or identical to Serenop's old dormitory. It's just an entry foyer where there's like shoes and cupboards and artwork. And then on the left, there's like a seating room / dining room. And on the right, it was like sleeping and closets and desks. Nonetheless, no one is here to greet you. There's just the scent of that incense and heat, or not heat, but smoke on the air. Windsor, the door opens. You can take a deep breath, and if you would so like, step inside.
I will slowly step inside. Hopefully that my companions will join me.
The door,
Because I am very scared.
Yes,
the door
yes,
slams
yes.
shut before any of them can join
Oh,
you, and you are
no.
trapped and die.
Ah.
Of course, Winslow, you take a step forwards, entering through the threshold of Karina Lindman's dormitory, lair, perhaps. Your companions follow suit behind you, and the moment that the 7 of you have crowded into this foyer, the door, again of its own accord, does so very slowly shut. The darkness in here is thick. There's no candles lit or any other lights. It seems that windows in here have been shuttered. There is a small rack upon which you can leave coats or cloaks or shoes and so forth, and further enter into the Serenop Cinema. Yes.
I don't trust this.
No.
No. Honestly, this is very on point with Karina. Can I is this like, because like you mentioned like the incense and stuff like that. Is there something I can do, I guess, to try, like, is this something Karina has done before? Is this something darker than what she has done before?
Make an Arcana check for me.
Sure.
You can all make Arcana checks for me.
Sure. I'm feeling a little
cool.
bit silly.
Silly, goofy move.
Oh, damn.
Ooh.
21.
19.
Okay.
Natural 20, 28.
I got a non-natural 20.
Oh my god. You guys did sensational.
It's almost like we're magical students.
Damn.
Wow, this incense sure smells magical. Cherry.
Smell of death.
The incense smells of some sort of burning wood of a variety you're unfamiliar with, but there combined with the darkness, which seems heavier. The darkness seems much heavier than a normal darkness on set. It's almost as if there is a smoke sitting in the almost like upper corners of the room along the ceiling.
Advanced darkness.
It's advanced darkness. To your approximation, there is a heavy magical presence within this room. However, all of you, I think, can very quickly assert that it does not seem to be overtly malevolent in nature. It seems that it is possibly illusory, possibly some conjured effects. I think with your effect, or with your combined checks, the biggest takeaway is likely that this is some sort of thing to intimidate you or make you feel very uncomfortable, not to hurt you or anything
Well,
else.
it's certainly having a very good effect.
Wonderful. You can all take your shoes off. If you have a coat or a cloak to remove, you can hang it upon the rack.
Hang my hat up.
In this hallway, it is crammed with a bunch of like wall hangings. There's on the right side a very grand tapestry depicting like a great field and a silver spire pointing up at the sky. It is a large grassy field. Rain is falling down on it, and like small buds of flowers are beginning to rise up, and there's just vines bordering the or decorating the border of it. On the other side, there is a variety, probably 4 or 5 mirrors of silver and copper and different varieties of mirror with different effective reflections as you walk past. It's like a little fun house, but just on one side. Almost.
Karina certainly has an interesting interior decorating aesthetic.
Well, we did kind of see like she does some like divination, illusionary stuff. Maybe this is kind of following her classes. Like, this is the stuff she has to buy from the students.
Yeah, they have to buy so many mirrors.
There's so many of them. Each class is a different one.
You walk to the end of this foyer hallway and can look to your left into the dining room. It has a long table, similar to the one you, Serenep the Cinderman had. In the corner, the fireplace has a very small fire crackling. Despite the summer heat, it almost feels cool in this room, unseasonably so. And you can notice the fire crackles not with oranges and reds and yellows, but more intensely on like the pink spectrum. It seems, again, arcane in some nature. Around the room, and this is a more well-lit room than the entryway, around the edge of the room on myriad candlesticks are like candles that are anywhere between like half melted or like 90% melted, and they have little orange flames burning atop them. There is, on the right side of this room, a grand set of curtains, again with that green and gold kind of embroidery, drawn shut over the window so that no light may penetrate this room. Standing in front of the window, between, like in a very small space between the table itself and the curtains, you can see 5 gnome-sized apparitions almost. They have no face or skin or anything. They seem fully invisible, but they're wearing little green robes, seemingly waiters or servants of some kind. All of them in their hands hold like golden platters, 3 of them with food, one with like a couple of glasses of this very yellow looking wine, and then one of them has a tray with just has assorted bones upon it. You can see on the table there is 4 notable things. There's spots for the 4 of you on one side. There's a spot for Karina Lindman on the other side. Place settings, golden cutlery set to the side. There's in the middle of the table a very oversized jar that is stoppered with a cork and has this very dark black smoke inside of it. Next to that is a possibly very familiar looking vial. It's a small glass flask. It has a steel cap, and over that there is wax. Within is a very deep green liquid. Mira Marchand, you would be the most likely to just know this, identify this on sight. Ages upon ages ago, you had all made some sort of potion concoction. This was delivered into your care, Mira Marchand, and was stored in your closet in your room. There seems to be one of the astral projection potions you had all manufactured sitting on the table.
Cool. So she stole one.
And the final thing is just there is a large incense burner, which heavy smoke is wafting off of.
Great.
Finally, of course, Karina Lindman is seated in the chair opposite side of the table, far from you. She sits there leaning back, reclined in a very large chair. Has her hair dark brown, pulled into a very tight braided bun. She has these straight bangs. Her skin seems much paler than the last time you saw her, and her eyes are very sunken in, and there's like very deep, dark bags underneath them as well. She looks very weary, very tired, but not like Kurt tired, where it's like stayed up all night working on something. It looks like a extended, exhausted state that you might be in for a season or so, where you just are drained, butter over too much bread, as to say. She's wearing a high-necked green dress, the top of which almost resembles like a military uniform with like broad shoulders. It has like golden chains across the front of it. It looks very almost regal. And then the skirt is just like this green, forest green upon forest green, kind of embroidered vines. She has like thin sleeves that go all the way to her wrists, and she sits, again, reclined in this. She stares at you with these like sunken eyes, and then very quickly the eyes flick to the 3 uninvited guests that are now standing in her room. And she almost like, you can see for a second it catches her off guard, almost like she was like the event is perfectly manicured. I know exactly what I'm going to say. And then the moment 3 uninvited people come in, she almost like opens her mouth, dumbfounded, but for a second, and then will turn to the side and breathe out, almost regaining her composure, and will say, "Welcome, everyone, to my sister's birthday celebration. I see that you've brought 3 people who I didn't personally invite, nor, and this is no insult to you, Mr. Orlane and the others, don't want here for this event."
Well, Crow wants them dead, and someone needs to look after them. I apologize for the inconvenience, but it's not negotiable.
Her expression sours. From neutral to sour, not from sour to even more sour yet. And she sighs and kind of like closes her eyes in annoyance, and she goes, she turns to one of these like green dressed apparitions with a tray, and she points at the one that's holding the wine, and she'll say, "Show them into the other room and have them sit quietly. Draw a curtain so that they won't be able to hear very much, please, and thank you." And the little apparition puts down the tray of wine onto the table, and very quickly, without a sound, kind of floats forwards. They make a beckoning gesture, though they have no hand, so it's difficult. And then you see Ari stutter almost in their step, pausing for a moment before following this thing. They drag unconsciously Young alongside them, and Kurt stands there kind of dazed for a moment, and he goes, sorry, Karina, sorry, this is, you guys have fun. And he like hits you on the back, Winsler, and gives you a very worried smile before stumbling after the rest.
Thumbs up.
The moment he walks into like the desk area, the study, a curtain magically draws itself, closing off that doorway. Karina then sits back in her chair. Is that your blood or other people's blood?
It's a mixture of both.
What if we told you it was both?
I wouldn't be too surprised. She makes like a kind of pouty expression for a second, and then says, "I suppose it was too much to dream of that this would be some sort of elegant affair."
We're elegant. We're just bloody elegant.
She ignores your statement as she
Very,
stands,
very fitting for the placements you got set up, I guess.
and she'll look to you and say, "Oh, you enjoy all the furnishings?"
It's interesting.
Well,
Smile.
I'm glad. I put in, and she walks over to one of the trays being held aloft, and she goes, "I put in quite a bit of work getting everything here set up. Before we sit down, before we begin celebrating my wonderful and dear sister," and she walks over to one of these trays, one of the ones holding food, and takes this, it's like a knotted ring of bread, and she will pick the tray up from this servant, this unseen servant, and will walk towards the 4 of you. She holds out this tray. It has this probably 6-inch, 8-inch diameter ring of braided bread. It looks beautifully baked. Sitting on the tray next to it is a large dish of salt, and she will say, "Please, an extension of my goodwill for the 4 of you coming here of your own volition." Serenup Cinderman, you would, if not the rest of you, I don't know. Serenup Cinderman, you'd recognize this as like more of a courtly tradition to break bread and salt as a show of good faith before you sit down in someone's home.
I will reach out and take the bread. I won't eat it, but I will, do the other steps that are needed for it.
Grab it, dip it in some salt, hold it aloft. The rest of you see this. You could follow the procedure.
Yeah, I'll do whatever Serenap is
Okay.
doing.
Yes.
That seems like a safe bet.
I'm gonna sniff it first.
Absolutely. It smells delicious. It has like very heavy spices into it. It almost feels like more of a dessert bread to your scent than as like a side bread or something of the other sort. It feels very almost like a sweet and heavily spiced. Sarah Cinnamon, you do not partake. Karina Lindemann also rips off a piece herself, dips it in the salt, and will hold it up to you all and making certain that you all see it. Take a very big bite of it, not the entire thing, and then just set it back down onto the tray. Serenap, you can hold it aloft, put yours back on the tray. The rest of you can bite or not bite, up to your decision?
I don't feel
No.
like biting.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna take a bite.
Serenth, Mira, Winslow, you place a salted piece of bread back down on the the tray. Integrity, you take a big bite of this bread. The salt, the sweetness, the spicing, none of it goes together. It's not a great experience. The bread feels overly dry, and there's a bit of a it catches in your throat for a second. And then you can place your half-eaten chunk of stale almost bread back down on the tray.
Karina's not a baker.
She will nod and hand it back over to one of the unseen servants, who takes it and scurries back to standing next to the curtains, and she'll wave a hand and say, "Okay, have your seats. We can begin." And she will herself walk back over and slink down in her chair, staring at you guys, like almost staring through her eyebrows, glaring at the rest of you. As you take your seats, the other two servants walk over. They offer bowls of like this very thin yellowy soup, and then another one puts like sliced duck with like this red nutty sauce onto your plates. It's generous servings. It looks all fancy and regal. It smells absolutely delicious, if not a little out of season. Sereneth Cinderman, it's more of like a fall dish to your nose. Nonetheless, in silence, this is served, the clink of silverware upon plates and platters, these little unseen servants doing their work. The other one walks around and fills glasses with this light yellow wine. It has like a very fruity aroma to it, but it's like a fruity aroma, and you can very heavily smell like the alcohol in it. One of those type of drinks. And over the next like 3 minutes in silence, this does so happen. The other servant holding a tray of bones just kind of stands there waiting. And Karina sits there and steeples her hands and looks at all of you. No food is placed on her plate, and she'll look at you and say, "By all means, let's celebrate my sister. Go ahead and eat and be merry. Make yourselves comfortable in my temporary home." And she like picks at her fingernails a little bit.
Did you not invite anyone else to this? Is it just us?
It's just the 6 of us, yes. No one else needed to be here. The 4 of you with all your experience, and then me and my sister, obviously. But who else would be invited?
I think Mira is doing that thing you do when like you're not actually eating, but you're just sort of like cutting food and like pushing it around your plate and like holding it up as if you're gonna take a bite, and then you're like, "Oh, conversation," and then you kind of slide it off. And she's like, "So, I appreciate all this, pretending to cut some food preamble, but what's with the serum? Because that was a very kind gift from my girlfriend, Karina."
She puts her fingers to her temple and kind of leans in towards you and will say, "So we're just skipping right to the end then."
It's been a long day.
I can imagine, but I have waited for this for a very long time. I would love to have taken a few moments to celebrate, again, my sister, her life, her 20th birthday, for her good health. We could give a toast, and then we can get into it if you would like, if you would just truly wish to skip to that part.
Hey, she's your sister.
A quick toast then, and she'll grab her glass and raise it. "To good health and continued life, to longevity, and happy, happy resolution to all of this nasty business." She'll reach it out towards you guys, almost in like let's clink our glasses kind of motion, pantomime.
Okay.
Integrity erases her glass and says, "Hey, I agree."
Yeah,
Very
while
well.
Sereneth has not been like partaking in the food, and very clearly has not been, she will raise her glass and ding in like, "To longevity and resolution."
And Winsler.
I don't know how to dink a glass. So.
Okay. She
Okay, so
dings
what you
those
do is you
offer.
take the 2 glasses, right? And then you
I've never done this before. We just eat.
Winsler over there actually eating and like being like, oh. She clinks it. She takes a very deep sip of it. Any of you might do so as well. It tastes precisely how it smells, an overwhelming taste of alcohol with the faintest hint of a floral note at the end.
If she drinks, I'll drink. But
Yeah,
I'm
she
not
does.
eating if she's not eating.
She does take a big drink of it, like half the glass before setting it back down, and
Karina.
she'll say, In my search of something that would help my sister, I found quite a few secret techniques or spells hidden around the school. That restricted archive of ours is a wealth of information, as I'm sure the rest of you know. In so doing, I may have looked into recent past, into the people who I knew to know information about my sister, and I do not apologize, Mayor Marchand, but I had someone remove what I thought would be a valuable, I hesitate to call it an asset, but a valuable piece of, maybe leverage is the better word. And she puts a hand out onto the potion, and she will say, if you're so offended, you could have it back if you'd like.
Do you know how it works and what it does?
I have a assumption of how it might work, of how it might intermingle with my sister's condition. I assume it is something to transcend this material realm and go to wherever her mind is locked away.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That was the plan. Go in there, try and help her. But I don't think any of us want to shut you out of that.
A small smile does, she very genuine, creep across her face as she puts a finger on it, and it would almost look like she was going to push it towards you, almost like pushing a chess piece, but she will then just grip it with her fingertips and pick it up and place it on her side of the table, and she will say, thank you very much. She steeples her fingers, almost like, Mira, it has the appearance of like you skipped to the end when she had a very, again, it feels like she had a very prepared thing to go here, and the tag-alongs being here and you trying to just like skip to the juicy bits have very, very much thrown her off. And she takes a deep sigh and she goes, okay, if we're going to speak of this, tell me what is wrong with my sister. Why is she in a cursed coma beyond my ability to reach her, beyond my ability to scry and see where she truly is? Where and what has happened to her? And if it was so your intention to use this potion and go save her, as you say, as you suggest, what has taken so long? Why has that not been the priority? To save a person who, I don't know, Sarah, I believed you at least said you cared for her.
Don't for one second think I don't care for your sister. Have you been seeing what's happening at Wildcliff?
Have you been seeing what's happening outside of Wildcliff?
Funnily enough, I have. I think you know something about that.
I do. I'm shocked, in fact, to see you here in such good health, Sarah the Cinnamon, against everything that I saw in the bones, in my divinations, in letters even. Everything reported much more grim fate than what it seems like. You sit here, back at Wildcliff, no consequence to your actions.
Do you know where they took me? Do you know what happened to me?
I haven't the faintest clue.
No.
And she smiles when she says it, almost like, I would say devilishly so. I haven't the faintest clue where they took you. I wish you had stayed there.
It could have been you. It could have been Angelica.
It could have never been me.
It could have been Angelica. Do you really want to put that out there when I've been trying my best to get back to this and help her?
Sarah the Cinderman, evermore we live in your shadow, your engagement to a prince. Do you know how much I had to endure from my own parents when that happened? Do you know how much I had to endure when you spurned him? That through my association with you, oh, just because she can do magic, she goes to that damned school with that traitorous woman, that my own prospects shrink up? Mind you, I don't care one way or another, but when you drag our reputation through the mud, you and I, when you hex your own unnameable parents and throw the courts into a frenzy, when you get taken away for some magical treatment of some sort or another, and then the courts erupt into a panic, that affects me and you equally. I guess, and she laughs a little, I guess I could divine it, but I don't need to. I can see it easy enough on the horizon. There'll be witch hunts soon enough because of you, because of what you did.
And how exactly does that pertain to what we're doing here today?
Oh, it has little and nothing to do. It's just playing around with insults and jabs.
So that's all we really came here for, was to be consistently insulted by someone who looks like they woke up from a grave 2 years ago?
It's been a long year. I apologize for my own appearance. I've been devoted to nothing more than studies and trying to save my sister. I should thank you, Sarah Cinderman, and the rest, I suppose, for giving me such a grand goal. I don't think I'd ever be as competent a wizard without your loving kick in the ass.
Do you know about Shiora yet? Did you figure that one out?
She kind of takes give me an insight check, Mira.
Yeah, I'll give you an insight check. 14 plus 4, 18.
18. There is almost like an awkward shame that crosses her face for just a second. Oh, and then she'll kind of sputter out, muttering, and she'll say, well, of course. Yes.
The school is an ancient cemetery, and Angelica disturbed a grave. It's the same thing that happened to my arm, both of them actually. It's the same thing that's been attacking us all year, last year, and for this year. That's why it's been us. That's why we've been keeping it secret, because anytime anyone gets involved in this sort of thing, it tends to lead to them dying. Ancient civilization, ghosts. It's not pleasant.
She kind of does lean back in her chair at that. The kind of facade of being like, oh, I know what you're talking. And she is taking it all in, it seems, Mira. Very vivid worry. All of you can see this flashes across her brow, furrows into just crazy amount of wrinkles on her face appear as she has this worried expression. She stares not at any of you in the eyes, but deeply into that bottle of dark black gray smoke that's swirling in the center of the table. How did she get involved? If you were keeping it a secret and getting your arms ripped off by it, I don't understand how and she seems to stop herself for a second, wonderful sister got involved with any of that.
I look at Serenup.
Yeah.
During the tournament last year, I found her sneaking. She had found this hatch. She took something from it, hoping to become more powerful. I went with her to return it, and everything just went wrong. She was unconscious. I got her out of there.
And then you took her. She was in the infirmary, and then you took her.
I can explain that. I was approached by Algrim. She took an interest. I didn't have a lot of choices. She basically said that if I didn't do something about her, then she could be disposed of. I thought I could help. Like I said, that when I lost my arm, the right one, this snake woman who did it might be haunting her or plaguing her. I thought I might be able to help, and then we got separated in Troyal, and I wasn't able to. And when I got back, Crow had her, and then she couldn't be moved.
For what? Why did the headmaster have her?
This power that's beneath the school, it's not something to be trifled with at all. It's not something to try and take control of. It's dangerous, and it seems that there's been plans within plans within plans from people high above us, Crow, the Lady of the Woods, so many people. They want to try and get their hands on maybe whatever this power is. I don't think they really understand the dangers that it really is, and everybody wants a piece, and we're all victims of it here. Every single one of the students in this school is suffering because of that. We're all at risk.
Karina, it's so powerful that it ended a civilization.
We're trying to help the people who have ended up near it.
You can see at this point, her hands are she has them folded or clasped in front of her mouth and is kind of looking down, not making eye contact with any of you. And you can see that her hands are almost like trembling a little bit as you all pile on.
The reason I'm back here is because I promised her I would help her. And I know you hate me. But that's the promise I made. I made a couple promises, and I know you probably don't want the promise I kept to you, but I'm going to keep my promise to her.
Well, I would expect nothing less. You can look at her. She seems to be like almost on the verge of tears, and she's not meeting your eyes whatsoever. So what is there to be done?
We don't know, but we think the astral projection potion might take us to where she is, and we might be able to help.
Bringing her back? Her soul, her spirit?
We don't know.
There's so much that we still don't know.
I mean, there's a part of her there because there have been times where she did communicate with us. So if there's some kind of remnant of her in this world, it would be there.
It's our best hope.
When are we leaving then?
We?
And she looks at you like a bird looking at a mouse, Winsler. And she'll say, I'm not going to leave the fate of my sister in your hands after all this time. You think I would trust you that much? At the very least, if there's nothing to be done about it, if she is lost, then I need to see it with my own eyes.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can't be tonight. We have...
Why?
I look down at like myself being covered in blood. Well, the headmaster's trying to kill people we're trying to protect. So tomorrow morning we're going to save some other people who are potentially going to get killed, and then we can this next part.
I've also got a bit of
Karina.
a clot in my chest, which is not very comfortable.
Yeah.
Pity.
Karina, how about this? I know that you want to go there as soon as you can. Like, immediately, if you were given the choice, you want it right this second. But I think you need some time to digest everything that's going on. Try to figure out what we may have not figured out. Like,
One night to figure everything out. I appreciate your appraisal of what I'm capable of, but one night isn't enough to unravel or digest all of this. There's no sense waiting.
Karina,
I could leave now, and the rest of you could join me tomorrow.
Karina. And I'm trying to like look her in the eyes to
She puts her hands like on the potion in front of her, and she says, I have this free of charge. After all, Miramar, you don't want it back. I could just take this now, right now, tonight.
And you could very well get trapped in there with her, and then what's going to happen? Give us time, because there is a headmaster going power crazy right now, and we have to go deal with that because everything falls on us, and then we will be able to work together.
Make a persuasion check, please, and thank you.
I'm going to give you Bardic Inspiration because I have one last slot of Bardic Inspiration. I'm going to look over to Karina and I'm going to say, hey, I have sisters. I get how it is. Serenep's right. If you are at your strongest with us all at once, we have the best chance. And I'm going to give you, Serenep, a D10 to that persuasion check.
Okay, give me. I need to put all these numbers together because this is going to be a. Okay,
So many numbers.
So here's a fun story. I have a +9 to persuasion. I got a 17, so 26 plus another 5, and I don't want to do any more math. So we're here now.
31.
There we go.
She sits there. As you say this, Mira, she glares, and Serenop, she glares at you. Winslow, she also turns and looks at you in the corner and like raises her nose and turns away from you, looking at you almost disgusted. There's no reason for that, Winslow. You can't assess anything, any reason for that. She'll grab this glass of wine and hold it up and kind of like look at it, and it like the light flickering through it, and then take the second half of her drink all at once. and very delicately place it back down on the table. And you can see her almost like clenching her hands, white knuckles. And she breathes in, very composed, and will look at the four of you and will say, tomorrow morning then, and there will be no delays beyond that. I can agree to that.
Okay.
Is there anything that you need to tell me about this situation? Anything I should prepare for? If our safety is so in your four's hands.
If a big snake offers you anything, don't take it.
She looks at you almost like you're making a joke, Mira Marshall.
She's actually being very serious about that.
Just
I'm dead serious.
straight-faced.
Yeah.
Just like,
I'll keep it in mind. She snaps with her left hand out of nowhere. She snaps with her left hand and she'll say, come here, and make like with two fingers gesture for one of those invisible unseen servants to like step forwards. The one with the tray full of bones does so walk forwards over towards the four of you. You can see there is an assortment of bones here on the table, and she'll say, as a token of my hospitality, as a thanks for your willing participation here, I would like to offer you a small gift. And she gestures towards the tray of bones. Is there a problem?
I guess I'm just in a little shock that you just have a plate full of bones on your right there.
It's a rudimentary tool in divination. I have closets full.
Fair enough. So are tea leaves. I'm gonna take one of the bones, I think.
Absolutely. Winslow Wallaby, you can look down. There's a hawk's skull. There seems to be what appears to be a human finger. There's a bunch of very small vertebrae in like a small sack. And then there is like a fox's mandible.
Ooh.
Or a jawbone, I guess.
I'll take the human finger.
Okay.
Sure.
I'll take the job. I didn't realize we got to choose. I'm gonna take the fox's jawbone then.
What are the others again?
Hawk skull and a bunch of very small, very numerous vertebrae.
We both have a bird motif is the thing.
Exactly.
We both have a bird motif.
So funny.
But Integrity also loves clutter and a lot of things, so I think she's gonna go for the sack of many.
Okay.
Many
Vertebrae.
things. I'll let you have the bird, Mira.
Thank you. I'll take the bird.
Take the bird. Very well. She kind of steeples her fingers and says, keep them close in case there's some disaster. I'm sure they'll help out. Maybe. And she laughs to herself. And then we'll lean back. She gestures, and the wine servant brings forward and fills her wine cup again. And she goes,
Jesus.
okay, the four of you can leave me now to
Okay.
ruminate. Tomorrow morning, here, after you've dealt with whatever it is the headmaster is doing.
All right.
And she like makes a hand motion like shoo, and she kind of like she looks away. She leans back in her chair, almost like she is lost in thought. Was there anything that the four of you wanted to say before leaving?
I don't think so. I want to get out of this creepy room.
Before
Absolutely.
I think Serenith will wait a moment.
Absolutely. Everyone stands up and begins to depart. Winslow, you peek your head through the curtain of like the other room, and you can see that Kurt is kind of like leaning back in a chair, his head like almost snapped back, and he's like snoring very
goodness.
softly. Ari is just standing in the middle of the room, unmoving, and Young is just deposited on the floor in a little heap. You can walk in, get the three of them, begin your process of leaving. Integrity, Mira following in suit, and Sarah Cinnamon, you linger for
Thank
just.
you.
She does not look at you whatsoever. She's like staring off into the fire, completely lost in thought. And you can kind of like slink out of the room. Integrity, Sarah, you linger for like a couple of seconds as you can hear everyone like putting their shoes on and getting ready to leave.
I think she'll kind of stand up, and she'll kind of stand at like next to where the hallway would start, but like leaning kind of
Yeah.
like next to the wall there.
Yeah.
And she's just gonna say, I'm gonna keep my promise to Angelica, and I understand if you never want, but I just wanted you to know I do want to keep my promise to you too.
She'll look at you and will say, Serenith, half of me wants so dearly to believe you, and the other half of me wants only to spit on your grave.
Jesus.
I imagine there's a lot of people who feel that right now about me. I kind of... Anyway.
What I said earlier, that a witch hunt is on the horizon, that is no joke, that is no speculation. That is a result of divining. When it comes, know that it's on your shoulders that the blame rests.
I think she just nods and grabs her stuff and leaves.
Of course. As you all leave, you open up that door back into the hallway, and light and warmth fills your hearts once more. And you take a non-smoky, incensed breath of air out in the hallway, and it slams shut behind you as you have made it out of Karina Lindman's birthday party.
I thought I was gonna die in there.
What a festive celebration that was.
I like the bone I got.
Wow, holds up happily.
I'm concerned about the fact that she's got so many bones in her closet. I mean, I get that for divining,
It's a
but
regular part of divining, yeah. Like,
I
some
just
people
assume
are
all
doing-
rich people have skeletons in their closet.
I really thought that they were like chocolates that look like bones.
oh.
I'm
Well, have you
sorry,
tried?
what shop have you gone into that I haven't known about? What?
The goth chocolatier.
the goth chocolatier.
Oh my gosh, I want to go there now.
And so, with the four of you cracking jokes just outside in the hallway, we will leave you there for this episode of Trials and Trebuchets. Sarah, could you please give us an outro?
I most certainly could. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed that episode of Trials and Trebuchets. If you did, it would mean so much if you were to leave us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcatcher app you use. No worries. We read all the reviews regardless. If you're interested in teasers, fan art, and other exclusive content, you can check us out on Instagram. That's just at Trials and Trebs. We've also got a Discord server. You can find the link to that in our episode description. You can chat with other listeners about the episodes, share art, all sorts of fun stuff. There's even some cosplays, which is crazy. So do check us out on the Discord server. For those of you who want to be a little bit extra generous, we've got two ways for you to do that. The first is our Patreon. That's patreon.com/trialsandtrebs. You can vote on bonus episodes, get early access to conversations and catapults, CDM notes, bloopers, all sorts of fun stuff. So do check us out on Patreon. Finally, we also have merch.
Oh my God.
Merch!
That is at
Trebuchets.com.
Trebuchets.com. There's t-shirts. I'm wearing one right now. I think... No, Luke's just wearing a white t-shirt, but, you know. I'm wearing your Trials and Trebs shirt. There's like a Nesca one.
Yes.
Sometimes we have special designs for like weenie hollows and things like that. So do check that out.
Yeah.
And we even have stickers. New designs get added. Check us out. Thank you so much for listening to Trials and Trebuchets, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody!
Bye.
So long!
Thanks for not killing us when we didn't have an episode last week.